agenda so I don't forget anything. So yeah, if you guys would post more on our Facebook page, we learn more about you, and it helps the momentum of the page also. And so please post more about, you know, what's going on with you. If you have any tips to help others do that, and we'll get rolling more on that and on the momentum. Let's thank Debbie Campbell. She's our sponsor for the whole month, and she's got some great raffles that she's been giving away during each meeting. So make sure you stay till the end, and we'll pick one of yous. So with that being said, hi Megan. Could you introduce the new members?
Yeah.
And if they're not here, maybe you can just say their name so we know we have them.
Yes. Give me 1 second. There it is. So we have our newest member, Roxanne Lynch, who joined from Canada. We have Tawny Cathorn, who is Blink Brow. And we have Lori Cicciaro. It's
Lori, it's Lori Ciaccio.
Ciaccio.
Oh, good. I didn't know how to.
Kind of just how it's written.
I knew
it. Ciaccio.
Ciaccio. She needs to fill out her company name. What is? I'll talk to her about that. And then Beth.
She's a Modere. She sells Modere.
Modere. And then Beth Pawanda with BP Medicare plans. So welcome those 4 for the month of October.
Nice. Yay.
Did we already mention Patty Farmer at last meeting? I missed.
Patty Farmer said she's going to sign up, but she was going on vacation.
Oh,
maybe
she hasn't.
Split out of town, and then when she comes back, so we'll have, she's in Texas, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dallas.
So yeah, exciting, very exciting. So let's get to our member introductions, and who would like to lead those on my board, my fabulous board? Gina, we got a volunteer.
All right, I'm going to go left to right on my screen, and we have Jody Royer. Welcome. You're on mute. There you go.
Muted now. My name is Jody Royer. I am the PWN Technology Chair. I help people manage their digital marketing and build their websites and make their internet presence dynamic and highly profitable. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. Teresa Ream.
Teresa Ream, your president for 2020, and it looks like 2021 too. So I'm also president of Disaster Cleanup Specialists, Flooring America's Floor Store USA, and Cypress Cabinets and Build and Design.
We have, next, I have Janie Arguello on my screen. Tell us all. You're on mute. Okay, there you go.
Can you hear me now? Am I on? Okay. Hello, ladies. I'm Johnny Arguello. I'm an applied Qigong therapist, massage therapist, certified and licensed in the state of California. I have an office in San Jose and actually Los Gatos. I just moved to Carmel Valley, and I'm looking to set up office here in the village. I specialize in traditional Chinese medicine massage. I'm a certified acupressurist. I also do abdominal detox work. So all of these types of body work are about myofascial release. So I'm a myofascial release therapist. I'm also certified prenatal and postpartum. Thank you. I'm happy to be a part of the group.
Happy to have you.
Yes, we're glad to have you. My husband's looking for a massage therapist because we lost ours. And she used to be with PWN, but she gave it up over COVID. So
Oh, I see.
next I have Leena Mendoza on my screen. I know you're going to speak and I'll introduce you, but just tell us a little bit about you.
So welcome, ladies. So hi, how are you? I'm so glad to be here today. So definitely what I can first say is I'm glad that there's a diverse group of women here with also diverse ages, right? And so the different generations. And so it's very, very good to see that. And I say it because I think, definitely during a time in COVID where women are really carrying the entire globe, let's just be honest, right? So I founded, in COVID, I founded my own organization called Intentional Leadership. And I love it because I work with executive coaching. So those who want to advance into senior leadership or CEO positions. So my clients have been very successful, and I also help with entrepreneurs grow their business. So I typically take whatever they're doing and we double their profit margins in a very short amount of time. And we look at where we can scale our business. So my background is in education, also government contracts, and as well as social work. So I have a very diverse background, very multifaceted. People ask like, how did you even do that? And I'm like, well, I just made it happen, right? And women can do that. And so was on a construction side as a project manager, and I realized I was really in construction management when I sat next to the bulldozer. And so why? Because a guy quit his job. So if anybody can do it, it's women, right? So we pick up the shovel and we keep moving. We still wear our dresses and our lipstick, and we show up and show out. So very honored to be here with a very phenomenal group. And so I've been following you guys on Facebook. And so I definitely see your presence and would love to contribute to increasing your marketability and visibility. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Debbie Campbell with Touchstone. Tell us a little about you.
Hi, I'm Debbie Campbell. Yes, my business is Touchstone Crystal by Swarovski. So it's sparkly jewelry, and the biggest part of my business is just allowing women to get together with their friends and have some fun, because we all need fun, especially now, and it's all virtual, and it's just a good time. So I feel really good about that. So, and I'm just a relatively new member and just moved down to the area a few months ago. So I'm excited to be here. Thanks.
Great. Next, I have Lori Black-Ogee. Welcome.
Thank you. How are you? So I am the secretary for PWN 2021, yay. And I'm the owner of Divorce with Dignity Monterey. I am a mediator. I am an attorney, but not licensed in California, licensed in Florida. But my business here is a trusted partner for couples seeking to amicably divorce. So I do divorce coaching, I do divorce facilitation, I do document preparation for divorces, which is very meticulous in California. It's a lot. So, and yeah, so anyway, thank you.
All right. Colleen McBride. Colleen, if you're speaking, you're on mute. There you go.
Hi, how are you?
Great, welcome.
Thank you. I was a member a while back, and then my life kind of changed, and I became a little bit of a different business, but I'm back because I am the owner and CEO of Paper Wing Theater Company, which has been in the Monterey County area for 21 years now. And we've recently moved down to Cannery Row, where we're going to be adding Paper Wing Theater and Supper Club, which is going to be dinner and a show as soon as we can get everybody in for dinner and a show. So we are right now, we're also in, I'm also the creator of the ACT program for MPUSD, which is basically an after school theater program for students where schools are struggling with their funds, and the district created a program for our Title I schools where we could go in and teach the children from audition to performance, a 6-week program. So that is also has been affected by COVID, but we are still very much trying to keep our brand out there. We are starting to promote our restaurant, which we're doing takeout and to-go orders. And that's kind of what's going on. We're located at 711 Cannery Row now, and just looking forward to digging back in and meeting with women who are like-minded. And I loved what was said about how women are capable of doing anything they want to do, and I really feel like that's being tried and tested during this time, and I'm just happy to be part of the process.
Great. I love dinner theater. I can't wait till you open. That's so
Me
awesome.
too.
I
Me
love it,
too.
love it. Yeah. Well, so let's see. She's the last one on my screen. Did everyone get a chance except for me?
How about me?
And Marion?
Sandra and Marion. Sorry, Marion. I skipped you.
Did I put myself off?
No, you're good. Sandra Collingwood, go ahead, and then we'll have Marion go.
Do you see me on the screen?
No, I see your name.
Oh dear. Oh, start video. Maybe I should put that.
Start video.
Yes.
That's a good place to start.
All right, I learned.
There you are. Hi, there you are.
I'm Sandra Collingwood, and we mix and market Super Spotter for the past 38 years. It's very exciting. It's an all-purpose product that will save you hundreds of dollars. And I'm excited about this marketing committee because I just saw something great. A little marketing mask. And so, you know, girls, when you see the polka dot, please remember we clean spots. You're to use your mask as a marketing tool. Because people will be commenting, you know, maybe you have a logo, maybe you have some words. I mean, you're going to have fun when you leave the house. That's it. Oh,
Sandra, you crack me up every time. Thank you. Thank you. That's great. All right. And Marion, your turn.
Hi there, I'm Marion Gelletley, the owner of Powerful Presence. And Sandra, I agree, the mask is the new accessory for 2020, right? So my company is a image management training and consulting firm. I've been in business for over 25 years. And just like all of you, this year, of course, it's pivot. And so I've taken pretty much all of my business online. I do a lot of workshops on style and business etiquette training. And I also do a lot of my private one-on-one via Zoom. So I am PWN's vice president in 2020 and going into 2021. And I'm the woman of the year for PWN this year as well. Thank you.
And speaking of, before I introduce myself, speaking of this year's Woman of the Year, Teresa, would you like to tell us what's going on?
Yes, we are going to have a Woman of the Year reunion. We usually have a gala and pick a Woman of the Year for that particular year, but we didn't want to shortchange her by not being able to meet. So we decided that we wouldn't have a Woman of the Year this year, but we would have a reunion of all the past Women of the Year that we could get together. So we'll have a silent auction that will go out a couple of weeks before that we can kind of bid on our phones and stuff. It's kind of fun. And then we'll have the grand finale of that at the, my husband's talking, he's playing with the baby, I'm so sorry. And then we're going to also have a musician is going to be putting together a production for us that we can enjoy with like a slideshow and stuff. And that's Jody's contact, and he seems fabulous. So we got a lot of good stuff going on that night, and it's going to be packed into 90 minutes. So, you know, anybody can come for that. And we're hoping that we get a good crowd and we can kind of enjoy that and have some festivities that night.
Great, yes. And just so the newer ladies know, that is our major fundraiser of the year. And so this year it is a little cut short. So we're trying to do the best we can to bring you a great program, something you'll enjoy and something we will all remember. This is the very first time we've had to do this.
Yes.
So it's going to be really good. I hope you all come. Make sure you bring a friend within the membership and remind people that it's coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun. They've put a lot. I'm going to say they because I've been a little under the weather. So they have put together a great program, and it's going to be good. So, and next I'm going to have Megan. I skipped too.
Thank you.
I think I just get used to seeing the board members' faces, and I just went right over.
No worries.
Hey, did I let you go too? Or maybe you moved on my screen. I bet that's what happened. So, yeah, you're after this.
Okay. Well, hi, good afternoon. My name is Megan Mertz. I am the Business Development Coordinator for the premier local restoration company, Disaster Cleanup Specialists, as well as Floor Store USA's Flooring America and Cypress Design and Build for all your flooring, designing, and cabinetry needs. And I will be showcasing later today to go more forward on the business.
Yay. All right, Gay, you're up.
My name is Gay Friedman. I am owner of Friedman and Associates, or the local happiness coach, and I do fun online self-care events for women to teach them how to achieve balance and happiness.
Awesome. Anybody else I missed? And then I'll go. Okay, I think we got
Just
everybody
yourself.
this time. All right. Yeah, I forgot myself last time I did this too. I'm Gina Estrada with Estrada and Associates and also the Prosperity Club. So I built my financial services business on becoming a networking expert. So that's how I gained clients and a lot of clients in a short period of time by becoming a networking expert. So in Prosperity Club, I'm able to bring you all those tools, tips, everything. Next month, we're talking about makeup for Zoom when you're the presenter. You kind of have to step up the makeup a little bit when you're actually the presenter, and all the ladies, because I did my makeup to ask them if they wanted to learn. And so they were all, yes, yes, yes. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Prosperity Club next month. Don't miss it. And yes, and my husband and I run our financial services practice together. I had already been running on Zoom for many years because I've been self-quarantined for about 4 years. And I mean, yes, occasionally I went out and about and everything, but I've always been really careful because my white blood cell counts have been low for that long. So I was already kind of used to this, and so were my clients, and it just went from there. Now that I have to do it, it makes me a little angry, but you know, it's all right. We're going to get all through it all together, right?
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm just being honest. I really don't like it.
I know.
But I know it's
kind
for
of
my own good. It's for my own good right now because I do have very low white blood cell counts, but blood is good. That will follow. And I am finishing up my board position. I was the programs person bringing you the great speakers like Leena will present to us today, and Gay is taking place. So we're going to have a nice little training together to get her up and running. And Teresa wouldn't let me go, so she had to create something for me. And I will be establishing relationships with the media. So I've already started. I have some good reports, and it's something that I was wanting to do anyway. So we're going to make it happen.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you, Gina.
What's next on our program, Teresa?
Gina's business is amazing. I mean, her employee, Adam, he's just super smart. He helped us all with our financial and retirement needs. And we had some big snafus going in that he had to jump in and solve, which were kind of like weird things. And it's just amazing. So happy. So if you need any financial things done, go to Gina. And I think Gina really got her networking done through her $1 million smile. I know, I don't think people can turn her down when she smiles. So are we going to do showcases next, ladies, before we go into?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So Marion, you can
Yes.
take it away.
So I'd like to go ahead and introduce Megan. There she is, Megan Mertz, and probably most of you know her because she's the membership chair and greets you when you come in and answers all your question. And I would say that Megan is, well, being on the board with her is really an honor. She's so congenial. She's a go-getter. She's happy. She's upbeat. She's really a joy to be with and always willing to jump in. So today she's going to tell us a bit about the business. She mentioned that she's the business development coordinator for Disaster Cleanup Specialists, Floor Story USA's Flooring America, and Cypress Design and Build. And she's going to ask us some questions about the precautions that we as business owners take from a risk management standpoint. So Megan, go ahead. You've got 5 minutes and I'll go ahead and hold this up when you've got 2 minutes left. How's that?
Okay, sounds
Okay.
like a plan.
Wonderful.
All right.
Welcome.
I am going to share my screen here. Can you see my presentation? Golden? Okay, cool. Wonderful. Well, good afternoon again. So I just wanted to talk about how our PWN president, Teresa Ream, not only runs it like a rock solid rock star, but she runs her companies just the same. And the beauty about it, so I've been working for her for about a year now, and coming in, I call it my full service full circle, because all three companies really go hand in hand. So a little bit of background about Teresa and the Ream companies. Teresa and her husband, Terry Ream, first started Ream Construction back in 1986. A few years later, they started their insurance restoration industry, where the funny story about this that she shared with us at our Christmas party last year was that their neighbor drove their Cadillac into their living room in the middle of the night out of nowhere. So sure enough, the adjusters came into inspection. Sure enough, they asked if we did, they did insurance work, and sure enough, she said, absolutely, why not? The business owner that she is, she'll make a way to find out, and she did. Her and Terry did. So in 1992, the Reams pulled the trigger and added a mitigation team to the works, where Ream Construction and Disaster Cleanup Specialists emerged. Not only did they bring those two to join forces, not too long later, they had Floor Store USA's Flooring America and Cypress Design and Build, where they have a full transformation of how we can use all three of our services in one. And sometimes people don't see that all the way. So on our first left photo, our Disaster Cleanup Specialist team was called out to dry out and inspect the water damage from a pipe burst from that over here. And then later on, called in our Floor Store USA's Flooring American company for our flooring needs. And not too long later, we have cabinets. It's a beautiful situation, a light bulb moment for owners or homeowners and business owners to say that we have a service that can literally meet any homeowner's need for those. So this has been working, for 34 plus years. So now March 17th on a Tuesday, we got a call saying, hey, no more work from home, and we'll see how this is going to go. So from inventing the wheel, we had to reinvent, and like we've said before, pivot. So Disaster Cleanup Specialists, for starters, yes, we are fully certified in bloodborne pathogens, which include COVID-19, but there's still no real, case of having to prevent the spread. So we apply our hospital grade disinfectant. We do a fogging system throughout. And so as we're learning these expectations of what we could be providing for our customers and our business owners, we utilized our homescapes, which is Cypress Design and Build and Floor Store USA's, to not only come up with plans for the disaster side, but also implement ways on how, once business would be open, how we can start tracking all of our temperatures of clients and things like that. So during this pandemic, we tried to market all 3 of our companies by providing our hospital grade disinfectant for our first responders. It was a great way, super affordable, but still pending for Cypress and Florissant to fully initiate the full process of having people coming into their building. So one thing what we've learned now when we first started is the hospital, it's airborne. It's yes, you still want to do your high touch surfaces, you still want to disinfect as many surfaces possible, but back to the basics, washing your hands for 20 seconds. You know, for our homescapes now, we wipe down all of our samples. We take every temperature of anyone that comes into our building just in case to stop the spread where we have to do our part. So during this time, we invented our certified approved DKI cleaned business stickers. So what we did was when we go into a business like Floor Store USA or Cypress Design and Build, we clean it, we do a full wipe down, we do a fogging with all, again, hospital grade disinfectant, let that sit for 20 minutes, close it all up, and after that, you want to air it out, and I kid you not, it is the cleanest air. You probably don't even know what to do with it. It's so clean. So with that, it's a great opportunity to show your customers or your shoppers that you have had cleaned by a certified professional of restoration, along with, as a business owner, you have your clean business certificate, which includes, it shows you, has our senior project manager sign off on it. It has the date. So for your records and for others, that's what's that. Oh, wow, my time is flying. So I know it's been a crazy year with COVID, but after COVID, we started with the fires. And so I just want to make sure that you guys as business owners, if you ever have a question regarding COVID or water restoration or fire, this is our number. And I know you guys all have your phones out, but this is going to save you time, because when a disaster does happen, you don't want to spend the time getting that number. So get it in your phone. You have Teresa and myself available, but this is going to help you out in the long run. And after that, we still have our team to make it beautiful. So I'm sorry. Am I okay on time? I think I over.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I had so much to say.
Perfect. All right, back to you, Teresa.
You did
Or
great,
Gina.
Megan. I'm so proud of you. And when I told that insurance adjuster that we did insurance work, we didn't, but we learned quick. So let's turn it over to Gina, and she's going to introduce Leena. And I've just been looking forward to this all week.
I always say, just say yes, figure out the details later.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, moving right along, because we are on a time limit here. We are going to have our beautiful Leena Mendoza present today. She is so passionate about building leaders and communities, ecosystems, and shared objectives. She believes in fostering and cultivating a positive learning environment and thrives on creativity, innovation, and providing solutions. She inspires others to make a hard pivot, there's that word of the day today, I think, towards their goals and achieve their dreams more than they could imagine. She is the CEO and founder of International Leadership. She's an entrepreneur with over 20 years experience working in nonprofit, government, private sector, and higher education to motivate thousands of people to take charge of their life and live intentionally. She is committed to developing leaders of excellence and integrity by providing the training necessary for personal, professional, and purposeful growth. Her motto is patience, sacrifice equals success. Welcome, Leena Mendoza. And if you have a movement in your screen or noise behind you, make sure you mute yourself and turn off your camera, because it is a little distracting to the speaker if there's lots of movement. All right, let's do it.
Awesome. Well, welcome, ladies. So thank you so much for having me as a guest. And so as I'm listening to each of your presentations, I'm definitely very impressed with not only your leadership, but your business and the passion that you have behind it. And so Megan, I did, as you were talking, I did save the number. I'm like, I have been in that situation. So now that I'm in a new area, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not getting caught in that situation again. So it's definitely helpful to be in a room full of collaborative partners who want to be helpful and who are extending their numbers like right at the tip of your hands, right in your cell phone. So, I hope that you guys continue to foster and cultivate these relationships. And the reason why I say that is because who you know is what's going to help you grow in COVID-19, right? This is about the pivot. And so I'm sure many of you have had to learn software. Even if you're familiar with Zoom, I've had Zoom shut off. I've learned 5 or 6 different platforms for conference calls. And so I'm like clicking. I also pray a lot. So thankfully everything works out. So, all right. Cause sometimes it just shuts off and, there's Wi-Fi issues and there's nothing you can do. So I commend you on your resilience through COVID and then also keep you in thought as we just continue to manage through this pandemic. And so one thing I always try to encourage is definitely give yourself some mercy and grace. And so it is very challenging time. And so sometimes people are like, I just can't do this, or my kids, I have, kids and they're in school. I'm like, just so you know, just a reminder that we're going through a pandemic together. We are not perfect. Yes, I know you're wearing, I've actually had an international call and a woman was wearing pajamas and I was okay with that. Now pre-COVID, right? Because Marianne, she teaches professionalism and image. And I would have before been like, oh no, that's unacceptable. But her $1 million idea, I was in her pajamas. I was like, oh yes, she's going to be very successful in her international goal mindset in her pajamas. So, because now we're pivoting all the way around. So I'm here to talk to you about specifically around character, communicate, and connect. So quick question, how many minutes do I have so I can stay within your time frame?
Well, normally you have 40, but you have about 30 some left unless someone wants to override and stay longer.
Oh,
that
perfect.
would be
So,
Teresa.
We can do 35, can't we? If anyone has to
Okay.
leave, they can go ahead. And
Okay, let's do 35 and I'll time you and I'll give you like a
Sure. So I will stay
time
right
for 2 minutes.
So 35 minutes, because I'm sure some of you guys are on lunch. So I'm going to go into leadership. And so one of the things as I studied in leadership, teaching millennials, working as a professor, working with different levels of leadership and management is understanding how do we lead effectively? And so how are we connecting? How are we communicating? And what is our character? And so when I spoke to Teresa, one of the things I shared with her is actually who you are is your brand. It's everything. And so there's a saying that we say in corporate America, it's who we hire you, right? You get hired for who you are, you get fired for what you do. So it's very important that your brand and your character always supersedes everything else, right? Non-negotiable for, things that are not ethical. And so as you design your business practices or continue to improve them, I highly recommend that you continue to focus around character. And ironically, even during COVID-19, I've heard that more where they say, you know what, they could just be a good person. So, because we found some people were not quite as nice, definitely in COVID-19, but also because in corporate America, we have executive presidents, or we might not necessarily meet. So we might not necessarily meet prior to COVID, right? Because we're busy or we're not in the same county. But as we see now in COVID, that it is more of a global market. And so being kind to others and connecting is definitely how you're going to expand, and definitely we have that global mark. And so, and then continue with that visibility. So I do my very best every week to make sure that I meet a different person in a different country every week. And then I meet at least 5 people a day. And so, and definitely the internet and social media has made that possible. So let me jump right into my presentation here. And here we go. So let me know if you can see this. So I'm sharing my screen. There we go, perfect. So that is my website. And so I designed intentional leadership right as COVID hit. So I left my senior leadership position out of the city of Mountain View, and I launched it because I really see that there is challenges around women advancing and entrepreneurs getting into spaces where they needed to. Did not know that COVID was hitting. And so I knew they were using more hand sanitizer. And so I was like, oh no, really, we are heading into a pandemic. This is not just a hand sanitizer issue. So but I have done very well. And so I am not brand new to leadership. I have consulted on this for a very long time, a little over 20 years. And I've been a recruiter, and as I shared, a professor, and then also worked on contract management with government entity as well, and social work. So I have very multifaceted background, and I put that together so that I can design something specifically for people to advance in leadership and to really grow their business. So what is leadership? And so if I can ask, so Johnny, you know, I know you're, you know, branching out to Los Gatos, and then you're out, you know, so I hearing you share that, like, what does leadership mean to you in your business? I don't know if you can hear, if you can unmute yourself.
Hi. Well, gosh. I would say, to me, leadership is having the integrity to be honest and compassionate with people. I feel that I have a very important goal in mind, and people can feel that in the way I communicate with them. So open, honest communication with my clients.
Absolutely. So thank you for sharing that. And so as you're branching out, right? And so you know that, you know, and you may or may not know, but in COVID-19, we're stressed out. so people should be flocking towards you, right? And so what do you think, how do you want to brand yourself out there as your business, like, so that people are stressed out? How do we want to recognize Johnny in the market? What would that be like?
Well, you know, massage therapists are one of the last people to get back to work. As a matter of fact, many are still not allowed to work with clients. So back in March, when I had to close my doors in San Jose, I realized that I had to have some type of, there had to be something different about me and about what my offering is, and how was I going to be able to get back to work when all of my peers are not working. So I reached out to my licensing board, and was grateful for them to provide a way for at least certain massage therapists to work, and they rolled that into their policy. And so having a doctor's referral is how massage therapists can work indoors. We were stopped from working indoors because it's considered personal care. My therapy is traditional Chinese medicine massage, and I was being notched into a spa massage type of environment. So I had to think outside the box, and now I'm working with a doctor who is providing referrals for pain, digestion, and other types of issues, so I can open my doors on a limited basis. So I don't know, I thought that took a little bit of gumption, and if you want to say leadership, and I think that I have the qualities to pivot.
Absolutely. So if we can hear that, right? So that's the storyline we want to hear in the branding portion, right? So when they say, why should we work with you? It's because not only as a business, you identified it as an essential service, right? For people who are working. So it's very necessary. You understand the stress environment that we have. And so, and you pivoted. And as an entrepreneur, you're always looking for solutions for the problem. And so that's the difference. And so sharing that, right? And I'll go, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. But a lot of people still believe businesses are closed or your service line is closed. So making sure people know, how did you do that? How did you know, how were you able to still continue service and still be able to be stellar, right? And so I encourage you to share your storyline because that is something where people would not have known to reach out to a licensing board and change policy. And this is the power of women. And so if I can share that, if there's anything that women can do is make things happen. So with a baby on the hip, a mop on the side, and then running the computer, I mean, we can make it happen. And so this is what is so important about your character, the resilience part, right? And so, and having love and compassion as a leader for your clients. And so providing that inspired action, right? And so also making that available. So not only did you create space for yourself, imagine how many thousands of other massage therapists you created space for. That economic growth is very powerful, right? So you didn't just be like, hi, I need help. Oh yeah, we all need help. And so as a leader, what are we doing to make sure we provide that space for others? So the storyline behind what you do, how you do it in character is very critical to your business growth. the ability to have influence and impact on others is very crucial to who you are. And so that's what people know you for, right? So you can be the CEO and you can manage your business, but if people don't know, like, Jody is an amazing person, right? And really that's the bottom line. And in Spanish, actually, as I kind of learned this a little bit more recently, and so in Spanish we say una buena gente. So if I say, is it Coley? Am I saying your name correctly? Coley, right? So if I say, you know, es una buena gente, right? So that's the endorsement saying she's a great person, and that's it. I don't have to read her credentials, that she graduated from Stanford. Like, we're like, cool, we're gonna sign the contract. And so why do I say that? Is your character in your brand is everything. And so in COVID-19, people are forgetting that. And so why do I share that? Is we're forgetting to check in on each other, right? Saying, hello, how are you doing? So when I work with my clients, the first thing, I don't go into like, hey, are you, you know, what are you working on your projects, or are you moving forward? I ask, how are you doing? And if I know about their children, I ask about their kids, because, you know, there's some challenges there, right? And so really leading with that empathy and with that inclusion as best as you can. So servant leadership, I say, if you're serious about developing your leadership, I encourage you to become servant. And so in that servant mentality. So the way I lead when I work with teams is I work with you and for you, right? And they go, well, you're the boss, you're the leader. And I say, no, I work with you and for you. And so my job is to make sure that our team is successful and to make sure that we carry you to the other side. So as you design that, your leadership definition, I think it's very important, because as you become getting more interviews, people might be interviewing online. If you're not being interviewed online or doing like Facebook Lives or asking people to do that for you, I highly encourage that. It really, really provides more visibility and marketability for you. So I find that, and it's interesting because I find that a lot of companies, people don't know that companies women owned. And so, and there was like a male industry gaming where I had to actually convert something over. So we had a show, this woman was going from gaming, and she was in 30 different countries and a very successful multimillionaire, but nobody knew she was a woman. And so she was converted over to biotech. She was an MIT graduate. And I said, does anybody know she's a female? And they said, no. So I think that's the first part we should know, that it's a woman owned. And we only had a couple of days to pivot, right, in COVID-19, and we were successful at that, right? And so really about working with your team, right? And so making sure that we work with you and for you. So leadership is very important to identify your own definition. Like, well, how do you describe that? And so as you get interviewed and as you share your business, I do encourage that you define how you lead well. If you want others to do what you ask, I always encourage, please do it first. And so it's your character, right? So if you tell me to dump the trash, or hey, pick up after yourself, are you modeling that same behavior? Very simple concepts, yet this is what we're looking for. So if you're familiar with the company Chick-fil-A, Chick-fil-A, actually, they are branded by character, right? They are a faith-based restaurant, fast food restaurant. They make more money than Starbucks, Subway, and McDonald's combined, and they have 4 to 5 missing days, which is Sunday, per month, right? So they have less days to work, but they make more than 3 different franchises collectively. So that tells you that their character, right? Because they're very gregarious. When, if you've ever been to Chick-fil-A, they're like, good morning, how are you? How can I help you? Thank you so much. And they're just very, very polite and very appropriate etiquette. And so that is why they're so successful. And so yet people go, are you serious? You really teach people about character? I'm like, yeah, look at Chick-fil-A. Like, they're completely a very successful business based on character. And so making sure that, you know, that servant leadership is really there, and how you work with your team. So what is influence? So if I can ask, so Debbie, I know Debbie, you're doing crystals. And so in this Swarovski crystals and providing a great experience. So how do you want to influence in working with you? Like, what would that look like?
How would I want to influence other people working with me? I'm not sure I understand.
Yeah. So how would you want us, like, how do you want to influence women? Like, is it like, do you want us to wear bling? Do you want us to feel happy? How do you want to do it? So it's to have impact on behaviors, attitudes, opinions, and the choices of others. What would that look like?
Well, the biggest thing for me, as I mentioned, is really allowing women to enjoy themselves, make time for themselves, and have fun with their friends and connect with other ladies. To me, that's the biggest influence I have. Okay. It just happens to be through sparkly jewelry, but it's allowing them the me time and fun time.
Okay. So it sounds like creating community, creating creativity, right? And then, you know, even like what I call it, I say it in Spanish, comadre. And so women have a very powerful like opportunity to connect, right? So when we say in English, we say connect. And so what I found as I studied millennials is that they said, oh, millennials, they don't listen. And so, and then I actually studied all the way across, right? And there's all these misnomers around millennials, and it actually came across every generation. So we're sometimes not collaborative, and sometimes we don't connect well with others, but we don't look at either our gender or sometimes our culture as there's some powerful things that we do have. Why are we not sharing that as part of our gifts and our talents? And so women we're very communal, right? We're nurturing, and so we can come together. So Debbie, that is a great client experience, right? And so, because I mean, I know us ladies are like missing the live meetings and tea, cocktails. I mean, if you're not being honest. So, right? And so we miss that, you know, kind of connection. And so I would share that, right? And so a part of your brand is that bringing women together. And then these are Swarovski crystals, right? So what is it like? What is different about the crystals that you offer?
Swarovski Crystals as a family-owned company that's been around 125 years this year. So they're very unique, influential in the fashion industry especially, but they branch out across many different industries. So it's just the solid backing and quality. The company, the crystals that their formulation, the way they do things is clean with water, and they also it's proprietary. Like 5 family members run the company. They don't travel together or anything. It's like top secret. So it's kind of interesting. So it's just the quality of the company, the quality of the product is really, that's important to me.
Perfect. So I would even encourage the term quality in the quality experience with your girlfriends, right? And so be able to create that. And so what part of that in your business are you sharing, right? And so someone might see the crystals and say, why don't crystals are crystals, and right? And so hearing that storyline of quality is there's a difference, right? And so the grade that you're offering. So the influence and impact that you have in the market is that this is the highest grade of crystal, right? Or one of the highest grade in crystal, and really providing that presence that you're looking for. Also, as far as integrity, so I heard that earlier, I think Johnny had mentioned that, the integrity as a leader, the ability to influence others based on trust. And so as we know, trust is a critical part of our relationships that we build and expanding out into the marketplace. So it's very important that we continue to show our integrity. And then, you know, at times we may see people who are doing things that are unethical or not quite aligned with our values. And it can be difficult to pull away or say, hey, you know what, that doesn't align. But it's important that we really make that be known. And so I've had to do that in COVID-19. And so where I identified someone who was not full integrity, you know, kind of bad mouthing other business members. And I'm sure you've seen that, right? And so I had to put a stop and be like, sorry, we're not going to continue in that business partnership. And so it was uncomfortable. But it was, for me, my integrity is very important. It's definitely more important than a contract. And so I encourage you to really think about, like, how does your integrity stand out there? How are you branding yourself in doing that? Even with your connections, right? As you're connecting with people, are they people of integrity as well? Let me see here. So identify, right? So what motivates a person?
Leena, I don't know if you could see me raising my hand, but I know in the past, I've loved Swarovski crystals. And in the past, you had to go to the store in San Francisco to get it. It's right on the corner there. And it's really, San Francisco has changed a lot. It's really terrible. I only go there to go to UCSF. I will not go there to stay, shop, anything. It's bad. And so now they're bringing crystals to us. That's a huge sale for me, that I don't have to go to horrible San Francisco anymore to shop for my crystals.
Right. So Debbie, so that's another spin on it, right? As part of your character, right? Bringing high quality grade of crystals and being local. And, so all this is a customized experience. And so the customized experience based on your character is very huge. It's very, very critical. I don't know if you know, like Coach and Louis Vuitton, all the high brands or high name brands, right? They're more of a higher price point, definitely are around customization. So sharing that you provide that great client experience and the customization also by who you are, right? Because as you shared, that these owners don't hang out together. They're not, is that correct? They're Swarovskis, right? So that should tell you that they're really keeping that confidential, and they're protecting their brand very clearly. So all very important things. But I will tell you, in COVID-19, I get a lot of calls. Initially, I got a lot of calls around, can you help these managers, because they were not checking in on their staff, right? So their character was causing them, even entire companies where there were people were quitting. So they realized that they did not have the empathy. They also did not provide the inclusion. So those who had children, they weren't checking in like, how are your children doing? So here they were trying to figure out how to train, work with their kids in school as well as run a business. And then I found that many people in COVID were working twice the amount of hours. And so they were actually asked to produce more under high levels of stress, right? So when we look at the word influence, when we look at integrity and identify and how you identify what motivates people, these are the things that are very critical for your leadership and your character and how you motivate not only your team, but also your community. So Monterey is a very tight-knit community. But now, as you can see, right, we're very much going global. So there's no need for us to kind of stay within our zip code. And so as I've seen it in COVID, I've seen it in this pandemic, I mean, I hear even from different people from different countries tell me how I sound very Western world. And so I go, I'm humble in spirit. I'll make you a cup of coffee. But because I have to work with corporate America, I have to sound a little bit more assertive. And so really understanding that how I brand myself and my character is always being interviewed. I'm always being interviewed in that way. So also, how do you establish credibility, right? You'll be recognized by who you are in character. And so if I can ask, so there is, so Gay, like I know you are, transitioning into membership, right? And so you're drawing in, this is a new role for you. And so how would you want the Professional Women's Network of Monterey, how would you want your organization to be characterized by your character? So not only for yourself, but also for your organization.
I think that the things that have drawn me into this organization, they already have in place. They're caring, they develop relationships, they want to promote each other's business. They don't worry so much about themselves. They assume if they do well that people will be drawn to them. They're fun, and I think mostly I like something that women have a lot of, that they're very caring. They're very, you feel like you're a part of it immediately.
Yes, so I definitely saw it on Facebook. So I appreciate you saying that. So this is why you're drawing new members, right? And so I will share with you, I just joined a board here in the Silicon Valley, and we have a 27% retention rate. And I looked at those stats and I said, that's unacceptable. And so making sure when I'm on the Zoom call, sometimes there's 100 women on there, a couple guys. And so I just usually inbox the guys first. I'm like, hi, are you trained? Because I'm checking to see if they're trying to find a new wife. So I'm like, you can't be here if you're finding a wife. So you got to go. And then I just check on the members. Hey, how are you? Welcome. And I encourage, be a great inviter. So the way your organization will grow is definitely the caring, and then also be a great inviter to your organization. And what does that provide? A level of engagement and connection. And so I have seen you guys do a great job of that. And so I think there was like ladies who were sick and they're like, hey, she's doing better. And I thought that was phenomenal. Really, it had nothing to do with business. It had to do with you as a person. How are you doing? And I was like, oh my gosh, these ladies are amazing. Like they're even like, good job. I hope you feel better. And so seeing that definitely warmed my heart, but really really speaks to, your true like authenticity as an organization. That's the difference. And so we're, as we grow in our organization here, I know we're definitely aiming for that as well. And so Gay, with that, like, so if I can ask you as a new membership chair, how are you going to connect with new members?
I'm not the membership chair.
Well, I mean, what are like you're connecting for the teaching, right?
I'm connecting for the membership chair. And what we do is a lot of follow-up in the beginning. That's how we show that we care. And so if Teresa calls people, Megan introduces herself and sends an email, I call them. They're put onto the Facebook page. So there's a process where people are made to feel that they're a part of the organization right away.
Okay. You're taking over the professional development portion, is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, programs.
Okay. And then Megan's doing their membership, is that correct?
Yes.
Membership. Okay, perfect. So definitely. And so as we continue to do that and grow not only in the professional development, but what you do, Gay, in regards to, so Gina's transitioning over to you, right? Is that what the content you provide is how you're going to bring in new members, right? And so, and growing that circle of women. And so I can tell you a lot of women in the last 30 days have shared with me their depression, their challenges, right? They look great on Facebook, but they're probably walking around in pajamas for the rest of the day. And so not because you can in COVID, it's because they don't feel good about themselves, right? And so how you draw in that engagement and show your character is everything what women are looking for. And so I highly encourage that, is really how you connect and really becoming a little bit more personal, right? And so you do a great job already, but just keeping that at the forefront of your mind. So as I ask this, so let me ask, so Marian, you have a very specific business in regards to imaging, right? And so, which I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so phenomenal. Definitely in COVID-19, like how do you look, right? And I've seen people pivot during, I've seen a house cleaner like make $150 to teach you how to clean your house. So she's kind of like a local Marie Kondo. So, and I was like, yeah, I was like, I love it. And, that's what she does, organize and cleans. And so I was inspired by it. So as you talk about your business, so how do you communicate your business with others in regards to, especially during this pandemic, and how's that working for you?
Well, I think the way I've been in business for quite a number of years, and so people know who I am in my circle. And the way I communicate to them is by continuing to educate and to be able to offer them the opportunity to come to a free webinar or to come to a paid program, but always with the idea that I'm adding value. I'm offering value to them and not always expecting to be paid for that value. So giving, kind of representing who I am, letting people get to know who I am and seeing if there's a fit. Because I agree, this is the time where there are a lot of not only women, but also men who aren't feeling real confident about this change in technology and what that means to them as they show up either in a meeting, either to lead a meeting or participate in a meeting or to be interviewed. So yeah, it's just kind of keeping my eyes open to what I'm hearing out there and what I'm seeing in terms of what people need, and then offering programs and opportunities for people to learn from me.
Yeah, so I definitely can see that value added as I, seen the posts in the Professional Women's Network group and so on Facebook and showing that. And then as I seen your image on here on the Zoom, I was like, you're branded all the way across. And so not only what I seen on Facebook, but also I was like, oh, she definitely looks like she owns that kind of company on imaging. So, but I will tell you, I love that because image is why people make more money, right? And that's part of it. So the ROI and the investment in your program is very, very important. So yeah, that's awesome. And so definitely communicating with others, like, how you provide value added, right? And do you share the same values? And so drawing the like-minded and success-minded people towards your organization is very, very important. And so, as I wrap this up, I want to share with you how this all kind of really got started. And so when I talked about communicate, character, and connecting is, as a professor, I found, I'm like, what is it? Why do we not like millennials? I liked millennials, but I knew I had to teach young people why that they were actually not liked. And so they were like, really? I had no idea. I'm like, they think that you don't think for yourself and that you're always on your phone. And so I shared that with them. And so I also was told that because the students were typically from a low income background, they would drop out in 2 weeks. So my students, if I started with 30, I'd end the semester with 30. If I started with 27, I'd end with 27. And I created an ecosystem where they would partner with each other. And so I would encourage you to get a phone number from your group, your friend. So if anything happens to your friend and she's not there the next day, you should know why, right? Or you should tell me that someone got stuck at the train tracks in Fresno City College. And so creating that family environment really helped me start from the beginning to end very successfully. And this also can also kind of permeate into corporate America. And so I was seeing teams not gel well. Why? Because of the connection, right? They were branded in character as a poor manager. And so understanding that and kind of basically explaining that more into corporate America, it actually goes across for generations. So there's different generational values or kind of, I guess assumptions in that regards. And so really being able to explain that in the marketplace was very critical. And also cultural values, right? And so how do we also value other people, not only for their character, but their cultural values. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that you can't be a certain way because you're a woman or, You can't be a certain way, like certain women are not encouraged to be nurturing. Even males are sometimes encouraged to be more manly. And so really making sure that your character is what brands you the most. And so this is what we find to be help people become very successful and grow and strengthen their organization. So does anybody have, I know there's some, I think Debbie had to jump off. Does anybody have any questions? I wanted to make sure I stay within your 30 minutes. No questions? Sure.
All right. You still have 7 minutes if you want them, but.
Oh, no, I just wanted, I'm okay. I wanted to make sure there was room for questions.
Yes.
Definitely want to encourage how that thought process on how you're branding yourself through COVID-19. Definitely as some of my clients, oh yes, Carla, I can see her raising her hand. Yes, ma'am. I think you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Had all kinds of computer errors today. Hi, really great. Just exactly what I needed to hear today. I was wondering if you have any suggestions on maintaining your brand when the kind of business that I have is so people oriented and so much is reliant on face-to-face. And I talk about having to pivot. I went from being a theater, and an education developer for my company to running a restaurant, because that's what I had to do. So talk about pivoting into that. I'm wondering how we maintain that connection and that attention to our brand when we're asked to pivot into another role in our company. And I loved what you said about, absolutely loved what you said about leading by example, because I always tell everyone at my theater, and I am one of the luckier ones, I still am allowed to have a handful of volunteers safely at my theater. And so not only am I asking people to do what I ask them to do, but I'm asking them from a volunteer standpoint. And we have at our theater, we work very hard to keep our volunteer culture very positive and upbeat and checking in, and we never want people to feel bad if they're there. But I'm just getting back to my question. I'm wondering if you have any suggestions on how to, I'm not so good behind the scenes. I mean, I'm good with social media and such, but as far as I am a people person and my business is very people oriented. And so having to pivot into this new role divides me and my attention and all that. So I
would say that. I would say exactly that and share hey, this is terrible, right? And so, because I think we have survivor's guilt and we say, hey, we should be grateful in the pandemic, and we should, but there's days I'm sure we all don't feel super grateful, right? And so we miss being with people. I miss it sitting in a restaurant with a bunch of people. I'm being a waitress. I'm like, don't leave me. Because I miss seeing people, and I worry about others who maybe are doing as well, right? And so how are they managing COVID? And so, but share that, and just say and share that gratitude around your volunteers and around your customers, and partner with each other. Hey, feature the other ladies that are here. I mean, it's it's a very powerful network, and partnership is going to expand you big time. It's definitely about sharing, and social media is very helpful. So I would encourage you to interview each other, so using your Facebook platform in that way, because it's reaching their market as well. Say, hey, how are you doing? How does, and kind of, it's your way of sharing your story through interviewing. And then they'll go, oh yeah, this is what we're doing now. And so it's definitely a great way, and it's free, right? So if you're not doing that on a television commercial, honestly, social media is more powerful than television commercial, in my opinion. So in some ways.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leena, you were amazing. You, the way that you included us all, and you picked out people and you drew them to you, and then you taught them and taught us all at the same time. It was amazing. I love that.
Thank you.
How do you see that PWN could do more of that? Because it's hard to get some of a big portion of our population to come forward and interact. And I really, that's one thing I lay in bed at night and think about, is that, the women sign up and then they hide. How can we better draw them out so they can showcase themselves and we can help showcase them?
And before you answer that, we had just started doing a much better job at that. And then we all had to go online. So we were really like, we were on the cusp, but everything changed when it became Zoom. So go ahead, answer.
So as I shared with you, I joined. So the organization I joined on the board was called the Latino Coalition of the Silicon Valley. And so I was a little bit worrisome because I try not to put myself in like a ethnic specific or even like sometimes not even like women specific, right? I don't want to kind of put myself in a corner, but I think it's also very powerful when you go to a group and then you can help them grow, right? And so so I share that because as I looked at it, I'm like, the website's not good, the money's not strong. It was like 60,000. And so I'm like, in the Silicon Valley, we should have millions of dollars. And so they're like, man, this lady's kind of direct. And so I'm like, well, if we're going to leverage and we're going to really uplift people, you need a lot of money. And so I've worked in budget, so I'm very direct. And so I can appreciate Gina's background in finance. Kind of like, no, money up. You got to get that money up. And so that's just the best way we can invest into our businesses. So as I share, 23 to 27% like retention rate, which is really poor. We have a lot of board members are volunteering, and we're looking at maybe 20 hours per person, and they have full-time jobs and families. And so looking at that framework, and so I said, this is not okay. Like, we need millions of dollars, like, immediately. And so one of the things we did in the last 30 days, we raised $50,000 in less than 30 days, and we doubled our membership. And so the way I did it, because I very like, hey, how are you? Very high energy, is I just was being a great inviter. And so as business owners, that's our job, is to be a great inviter, right? So, Marion, she works with a specific clientele, but she can also be, you never know if it has an aspiring leader or someone may think, I don't know if I can afford her. I don't know if I'm there yet. But if you just invite people, right, and they'll be like, you know what, I can totally afford it. Here you go. And yeah, I'm there. And so it's really, because we're kind of like unsure, right? And so definitely Zoom doesn't make it comfortable, because I'm sure you've been there where it's very flat, and it drives me crazy because I like music, or I like cocktails, or kind of like something fun. And Zoom doesn't provide that. And so connect ever you can. And so I love Jody's pictures in the back, because I'm like, oh my God, I love your office. It's like super bright, vibrant, And so however that makes you connect. And so, even in her introduction, she goes, I help you make high profit margins. And it's like, that should be like hook, right? And so as members, how do you grow membership is be a great inviter. Hey, my friends are getting together. I'd love for you to come. And then just be a great inviter. And so I just invited a bunch of people, and I'm like, I need you to invite 5 people. And then they did. And so, and then the organization was like, everybody was saying my name, and that wasn't the purpose of it, but I want to be able to invite as many people. So that's my recommendation, is be a great inviter.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, yeah, again, that was spectacular, Leena. Really, really enjoyed having you. Would you be willing to come back someday?
Absolutely.
Yes, you have so much value that just a half an hour is not enough for us. Okay, so we'll go to our raffle. And Jody, if I pick a number, can you actually go down the list as they signed up and grab a name off of that? Would that be an easier way to do it, or do you want?
Yeah, go
You can go.
pick a number.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick number 8. You're
You're gonna pick 8. Okay. Lori Black. Oh, Jean.
$50 certificate in Swartzy Crystals. So that's amazing. So yes, congratulations. Okay,
Awesome.
any burning desires? Somebody want to do a quick testimonial? I want to.
No, I do want to tell you who's next. So next Thursday at noon to 1, we have our own Julie Snitzer presenting Small Adjustments Over Time Lead to Progress. It's going to be really good. I don't know if you know, but Julie has really upped her game in COVID, and I like to hear really good stories of that. So,
Yeah, it should be awesome.
please come and bring a friend. Don't come by yourself. I've given you several speeches on always be inviting, so let's always be inviting.
Yes, absolutely. And Gay is going to be our MC for our Women of the Year event, and then Lindsay Horton next week is going to run the meeting. I'll be in Cabo San Lucas. I'll try to hop on, but I didn't want to just run the meeting with the way the internet is down there. So, so enjoy our new leadership that's coming in to run meetings and do things. I'm just so excited. So see everybody next week.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
Thank
Thanks
you.
again, Leena.
Thanks, Leena. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.